well-thinking Jamaicans should raise their voice in concert against the high levels of crime and against the government in not doing enough in control.
People, welcome to the Politricks Watch. This is Sir P. Now, today I have an open letter for Prime Minister Holness, aka Bro God. I see some statements recently where he was talking about the fact that, people talk about the good things of them. It look like Holness is trying to give Ding Dong a run for money, talk about the good things them. You know that argument. Why not all to talk about the bad things, talk about the good things them? I gotta address this. I have one main question for the Prime Minister. But before I go any further, Mr. Prime Minister, people call you Bro God, but I'm gonna call you Hombre. I hope you don't think it's disrespectful that, a man with a title as big as yours is being referred to as Hombre by a local YouTuber. After all, if you accept the title of Bro God, you should accept the title of Hombre. Because they both originate from the same place. The two of them are street culture. The two of them are street dog. So, since they can claim Bro God, you shouldn't have a problem with Hombre. After all, as it relates to you, Hombre is actually closer to home. So, Hombre, you mentioned, people are talk about the bad things then. You use some very powerful words, People are tear down Jamaica. Tear down Jamaica. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Prime Minister. Before you became Prime Minister, when you were campaigning, were you walking around Jamaica talking about the good things then? When you were in opposition and you wanted to get into power, when you said you walked down how much clocks all across Jamaica on your missions, were you walking around telling the Jamaican people about the good things then? When you were knocking on people's doorstep, when you were doing your rallies, were you telling the Jamaican people about the positives? Were you saying the current government did some positives so we could focus on that? Did you say that, Hombre? You didn't say that. You were talking about the issues that people are concerned with. Now that you're Prime Minister and other people are talking about the issues that they're concerned with, you want to hear about the good things then? I'm sorry, Prime Minister Ding Dong. Are you upset that people are holding you accountable for your own words? Are you troubled that people, especially over here, continue to point out your farcical statements about making Jamaicans go in bed with door open? Mr. Prime Minister, Hombre, Spanish Town, the thing there. You know how ugly Spain Town can get. You are not a product of Jamaica's elite. You come from a working class background. You know what ordinary Jamaicans deal with on a day-to-day basis. When you were a young youth in Spanish Town coming up, were you and your peers walking around talking about the good things then? Or were you looking around saying, this not right, that not right, and this need to fix right now? You see, Mr. Prime Minister, I've heard all about your time coming up. Congrats, well done. I mean that sincerely. However, I trust and hope that you have not forgotten what it's like to be an ordinary Jamaican in the streets. You see, now that you travel around with 24-hour security, police, north, south, east and west surrounding you, I hope the constant feeling of safety haven't make you lose touch with the people. Mr. Prime Minister, Hombre, Jamaica continues to top murder charts. You mentioned, this quarter we saw some economic growth. You are an educated man. But even if you weren't, you would still know, when it comes down to human beings, safety is first and foremost. Your party talk about prosperity. PNP talk about progress. However, neither of them things mean nothing without safety and security. What is prosperity without security? If every single Jamaican walking around Ireland was to suddenly get $1 million in their bank account and a free Ferrari, it wouldn't mean nothing if they're afraid to drive the Ferrari and spend the money. You see people in Jamaica, when a politician come out and tell us, to talk about the positives, from the good things them, that is a fancy way of saying, ignore my failures. And that would be okay if the failures them were minor. But they're not. Mr. Prime Minister, when people say Jamaica topping murder charts, then the business about how much tourists want to come to Jamaica going to eat chicken. Then the business say starting come out and say there'll be 3% or 4% GDP growth next quarter. Hombre, remember, you did say the Jamaican people should raise their voice and talk about the fact that the government is not doing enough. What? You don't want people to raise their voice, but that again. But no, you want them tone down that voice. You see, hombre, on this platform, I've talked about the economic situation in Jamaica regularly. I've said it many times. People talk about Jamaica like it's some destitute, war-torn, ravaged nation, and that's far from the case. Jamaica don't top poverty charts. Jamaica don't top unemployment charts. Jamaica don't top literacy charts. Far from it. We talk about that enough time. What heap of time? The PIA know that. I've even gone as far as to mock people who claim to have poverty responsible for Jamaica's murder rate because the data is there. It doesn't add up. I've even mentioned that Jamaica is currently seeing record low unemployment. In the history of Jamaica, since they measure unemployment, they've never seen it this low. So people who claim that unemployment, right, when that go down, the murder rate will go down. I've used that for sure, say, a unicorn need. It's not that people don't talk about the good things them. It's just that the bad things them are so bad, people don't even have time to look on the good things them. See, hombre, when residents are worried that them house might get firebombed, them now on the time I go up on starting website and look to see if there'll be 1.5% economic growth or 2.5. When people are worried, say the gunman will tell them to carry X amount of money come give them, or else some go dead. When they can't find the money, they don't have time to worry about how much tourists a drop of Jamaica, how much jerk chicken sell. When Jamaicans see say literally every year hundreds of children go missing and never ever found again, they don't have time to talk about the good things them. I mean, think about it, hombre. Why do you think politicians are given certain jobs? You think it's because people want them to fix things that are already good? Does that make sense, Mr. Prime Minister? No, it's to fix things that are going bad. Why would anybody be sitting around worried about things that are not going wrong? How does that make sense? Now, as is customary, I like to use analogies over here, so make we use some. Imagine you have a brain tumor and you go to a doctor. The doctor tells you, say, within 3 months, I'm going to get rid of this tumor, right, and make you all good again. 4 months pass, 9 months pass, 2 years pass. Yes, a doc. You did tell me, say, you go sort out this tumor. The doctor look you straight in your eyes and say, why not talk about your chest? Look on your ears. Your ears now have no wax inside. Your ears clean like a whistle. I never come to you because I want to hear about my ears. Nothing ever wrong with my ears. You tell people about hairstyle and a brain tumor, the patient go to your boat. So why you don't want to talk about the brain tumor? Is it because you can't fix the brain tumor? Said it many times. Is it that you can't do it or you don't want to do it? Why would my doctor, who tell me say, he want to fix the brain tumor, even collect money for the brain tumor, now tell me say, me must talk about me ears? This doctor must take me for a fool. Make you use the next one. You go to your mechanic when the car have an issue. You say, Mr. Mechanic, my carburetor now work. Mechanic tell you say, if you bring the car come give me, right, don't give the other mechanic, you know. Don't give the mechanic down the road. If you carry the car with me and leave it there so, in 3 days me I fix the carburetor. 6 months later, the carburetor now fix. When they got to the man and say, but hold on. He tell me say by now, car would have fix and up on the road again. Mechanic make you straighten your eye and say, why you not talk about the brake shoe them? Why you not talk about the wheel them? Look how the wheel them shiny. That's what we talk about. Every day you come and talk about carburetor. Why you not talk about the radio? The radio in the car play clean. Right, the bass that shake up the place so. Why you not talk about that? Brake shoe, radio, a carburetor, I come to you about. A carburetor, you say I go fix. Why you don't want to talk about the carburetor, Mr. Mechanic? Is it because you can't fix the carburetor? Or you don't want to fix my carburetor? Because I need the car back on the road because the car run taxi and I eat, put food on the table. Mr. Mechanic, you take me for fool. One final one. You're having some issues with electricity. You call JPS. JPS say listen, don't go solar. Work with me. Within 2 days, I get you back on the road. You say alright, sound good because if me not on the light, then the food in the fridge I go spoil, meat I go spoil, can't get no Wi-Fi for the pitney them, do them online schooling, so light is important. JPS say, yeah man, 2 days. 200 days pass and JPS can't put on back the light. When they say JPS, me light, the man look on you and tell you say, when you talk about the fact say you have water, do you have water in your pipe? When you talk about that, talk about the positives. I come to you about no water. I come to you about no grass. I come to you about no roofing. And the light me talk about. Me need the light for the Wi-Fi, for the fridge. So when the Prime Minister come out and I say, talk about the positives. That's not what he was saying when he was in opposition. When he was in opposition, he did sound just like everybody else. So hombre, when you were in opposition, is it that you were not a patriot? And now you're in power, you are a patriot? Because they say people misuse the word patriot. Apparently a patriot is somebody who ignores blatant failures from politicians. These people are trying to change the definitions of words to suit them agenda. They want you to believe that a patriot is somebody who stand by idly and ignore the fact that Jamaica, a country that once had a murder rate lower than the United States, is now top of the murder charts consistently for decades now. They want you to ignore that and talk about things where them want you to talk about, but only when they're in a power. Mr. Prime Minister, a long time Jamaica bad, sure. As Mr. Decades now. Fortunately and unfortunately for you, you were around in the social media era. That is a blessing and a curse for you. Some of your predecessors never really get it as serious as you because when time them did a fail, just like you, with crime, social media wasn't around. There wasn't no PIA, nothing like that. For example, enough people don't know this, the first Prime Minister that see a 1,000 murder year in Jamaica was PJ Patterson. Yes, the first time Jamaica hit 1,000 murders, PJ Patterson was in power. The first time Jamaica hit 1,100 murders, PJ Patterson was in power. The first time Jamaica see 1,200 murders, PJ Patterson was in power. First time Jamaica see 1,300 murders, PJ Patterson was in power. First time Jamaica see 1,400 murders, PJ Patterson was in power. First time Jamaica see 1,500 murders, PJ Patterson was in power. First time Jamaica see 1,600 murders, PJ Patterson was in power. Nobody has seen 1,700 yet. So, a long time things are going so. But now, we have social media, now information is more readily available. The same social media played a big role in getting Andrew Holness in a power. But the same social media is a double-edged sword. It means that every single week, every single month, we can go online, see what go on, and then say, yo, Mr. Prime Minister, this is not good enough. And every action, every step can be followed closely. So while things never broke out under your leadership, you have been tasked to fix it. So is it at, like JPS in the analogy, or the mechanic, or the doctor? Is it that you can't fix it? Recently, for the Jamaica 60, them do a poll. They asked the Jamaican people, what is the biggest failure for the country since independence? Landslide, crime and violence was number one. Crime and violence was more than the next two combined. It wasn't economy, it wasn't unemployment, it wasn't jobs. It was crime and violence was seen as the biggest failure for Jamaica since independence. So you want the people of Jamaica ignore the biggest thing them worry about? You want people to talk about things that they worry about less? That makes no sense. Make absolutely no sense. Just with the brain tumor. You are telling me to worry about biceps and six-pack when there's a tumor attached to the brain? Come on, Mr. Prime Minister, no Sankey can't sing so. You see, Mr. Prime Minister, I hope it's not a case where you become too removed from the ordinary Jamaican. You see, Mr. Prime Minister, hombre, unless you turn this thing around, you will be consigned to the history books as another Prime Minister who failed to curb the issues that the Jamaican people care the most about. That is the reality. And no amount of talk about the good things them, no amount of deflection are going to change that. Fortunately for you, you still have time. Yes, when I bring in new law, I want to go update this and I want to update that. At this point, all I can say is, we will see. Because we know, say, when you don't want to bring in the laws them, about the things them won't actually care about, there is no delay and there is no promising, it does happen. It happens so fast, say I wonder, when that go through? So, we will see. But hombre, I hope your current status, your current lifestyle, the meet and greets, rubbing shoulders with Jamaica's elite, has not caused you to forget what it's like as an ordinary citizen. The ordinary citizen walk around living in fear. The ordinary citizen have to pay extortion after them pay tax to the government. The government collect tax and then bad man come collect for them tax. The government collect tax under the pretense that they're going to provide security. And right now the government is not providing that security. Remember, it's not a charity, you know. Police force, JDF, these things are not charity. Andrew Holness, Mark Golden, PNP and JLP not doing nobody no favor. Them collect money, them collect tax, income, with the intention or with the claim, say, them are going to do this and do that. Them not do it from the kindness of them heart. The Jamaican people, taxpayers, right, are realizing, so after them pay this and pay that, them still are living at the mercy of criminals. Taxi man, it take started. Higgler, it take started. Shopman, if you not pay, this get burned down, wanna get head chop off, all kind of madness. Woman can't go up on the road, go work out certain hours after night by themselves. People, I look over them shoulder, everybody's so tense, nobody can trust nobody. Now we're not saying a cause of you why Jamaica stay so, but you claim say you can do something about it. When you collect tax money, to feed Dan in a jail was send orders to kill back civilian a road. Imagine that. Imagine helping to shelter and feed the man who ultimately send the orders for your head get chopped off. That's real life Irie man. That's real life Irie man for people in Spanish Town, Mobile, South St. Andrew, all over. That's what people want address. That's what people are talking about. When them see progress in those areas, then you won't have to come on the TV and talk about this and talk about that. People do it for themselves. Nobody not stupid. People will know when Jamaica is a better place. People will know when they're in Jamaica is a safer place. People will know when them see certain improvements in the things that them want see improvements in. When people see healthcare, hospitals, education, them things there reach a certain level, people will know. You won't have to tell them. See, that's the thing about winners, you know. Winners now have to scream, say them are winners. People can see it for themselves. Their actions, their results speak for themselves. Pep Guardiola don't have to manipulate nobody to feel say he's the Premier League champion. Sir Alex Ferguson don't have to manipulate nobody, play mind games for nobody, make them feel like he win the Premier League and the Champions League over and over. So with all that said, let me just reaffirm my position, because me want to make it clear where me stand. This platform talk about politics. This platform talk about crime and violence. I'm not stop. I'll be right here to remind you about the same statements where you say over and over. And if you lose power and Mark Golding going power, I'll be right here to remind him of his failures too. We will not be removing the metaphorical foot off on the neck. It's not going to happen. You're not going to shame nobody into talking about the things that you want to talk about. We're going to continue to sound like how you did sound before you're going to power. It's a difficult job, but it can be done because Mr. Colombia, the home of the monstrous Medellin cartel, turned things around and now them fall out of the top part of the murder rate chart. We see El Salvador, the home of the monstrous MS-13, have significant improvements in the murder rate. And Jamaica still sit down in the murder saddle. Like say, a Cayman's truck. El Salvador, Colombia, Mexico, the home of drug cartels that are so rich, powerful and destructive that they could probably overthrow small governments. Would they above them in a murder chart? No. I'll keep talking about it. Nothing will change. Get used to it. Anyway, Patreon Squad, be open yourself. Yeah, you don't know, more life. Culture Squad, stay circling. Bless.